Hello. It's me. Hopefully the volumes are all okay. If anybody's in chat, let me know if you can't hear me over the game or something like that. I'm going to turn the game down low. It's interesting. I have to change the volume in the actual game itself because I'm going to have Luke and John, the developer and the composer, talking with me in Discord through my PC audio along with the game. So there might be some setup and stuff. But I am so excited because I can't tell. I'm going to tell you all about it all the time. I will do a barrel roll. Right. Should I also use the boost to get through? Yeah, that's a barrel roll. Good to see you right there. Ragnar Random is an old friend of ours who used to be on the fan game team with us as well. And right, down the volume goes. Thank you. Hold up, actually. Because I need to make sure you can actually hear those guys. So I need to go in here and go down with this. Right, let's try that. Okay. I'm bring my mic up a little. Actually, my mic itself is there. Okay. And I need to bring it down a little. Need to make sure you guys can hear Luke and John as well once we get them into a voice call. They are gonna. Why is my chat all the way across there? Oh no. Yeah, the thing is, Ragnar in chat there, Ragnar Random, was in the fan game scene with us way back, and this is the game of Luke, who was something of a legend in the fan game scene, and similar to me, they are not overly into fan games these days. They have the same philosophy to me as like, do something original with your time, right? But it's all creativity, isn't it? But this has been a long time coming because this is their kind of, I suppose this is their Spark the Electric Jester. This is their spiritual follow-up to some of the stuff they were doing with fan games at the time. And look, this game is incredible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this chat looks all right. And then, all right, I'm just going to start a call with these guys on Discord and see if I can get them in and see if this works. Wish me luck. Let's find this button. Start voice call. Calling these guys. Can I hear them though? Hold on.
Hello.
I can hear you. Can you guys hear Luke there? I think this is working. I'm just going to change the volume just a little quieter on the game.
Hold on just a second.
I can hear you just great. I hope everybody else can.
Hold on, I just muted the chat. Okay.
Sure. I'm just keeping an eye on chat. Okay, Ragnar, is that you? Ryan, is that you responding to whether you can hear Luke or not?
Hello, I am Luke.
That's Luke right there. Yeah, Luke, formerly once known as Thunder Dragon, and in my opinion, something of a legend and a really, really good friend of mine. It's good to have you here, man.
Thanks. Yeah, just give me a second. I should probably link this in my server too.
And while you go ahead and do that.
And that is the voice of John. Hi, John.
Hey, John.
Hello.
That is John. Was Verge, was it?
Yeah.
I always call you John. Another good friend of mine and the composer for this game, formerly DJ Yoshiman.
Still DJ Yoshiman, but yeah.
Oh, still DJ Yoshiman.
Whatever you want to call me.
Awesome. Everybody can hear both of you. And Ryan in chat, you guys will remember him as well. It's something of a reunion of Mario Fan Games Galaxy,
Sorry, who's in the chat?
That's Ragnar Random as Ryan. He used to be what was it? Rai Guy 64 Koryaku.
Yeah, Koryaku.
Yeah, man, good times.
Oh yeah, all right.
For a bit of context, a bunch of us back in the 90s, late 90s, mid to late 90s, we used to put our fan games on the internet, right? Inspired by was it Jordan Bieber with Biebersoft? And Luke,
God, that was a revelation.
Yes. And Luke, you were the founder of Mario Fan Games Galaxy. You were the founder, wasn't
Indeed.
it? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it all began when I found the link to these so-called spoofs, not fan games, spoofs on an old site called The Mushroom Kingdom, and that created a monster.
Yeah. So I expect you probably don't want to talk about fan games so much as you want to talk about PSYCUTLERY. But
Yeah.
if you want to say anything about the origins of this before I get started, or do you want me to just
what
go
else is
ahead
there
and
to say?
start?
I mean, it actually did start as something of a fan game, a Yoshi fan game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at first I had like a character with a long tongue. However, that wasn't original. So I made the tongue invisible and I stuck hastily out of nowhere a sport because hey, I got to eat something with something. Yeah.
I think it's wonderful. Beautiful. Well, normally I have something of a fitting beer for when I stream a game. Today I've got Hazy Jane. I didn't have many options, to be honest. My fridge was empty, but Hazy, I mean, the game's kind of trippy, so I'll give it Hazy Jane. But being that this is the launch, I think it's Suntory time. John, have you got a glass to raise?
Yeah, I got some Merlot.
All right, anybody that
Red.
partakes to PSYCUTLERY, come by.
PSYCUTLERY.
Cheers.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, Luke, on getting this, and I'm just gonna jump right in, and we'll see.
Thank you.
Got some Gatorade. Good call, Ryan. Good to see you as
Let's
well,
get some of
Jerky.
that ASMR going, right?
Yeah, raise the boomer juice. Jerky's raising the boomer juice.
Trying to find where the chat is on this thing.
Yes, you can
Forgive
see
me.
my let's save here where my sport was called Butt Farticus. Please ignore that.
What Farticus? Beautiful.
I also was testing to see if it deletes swear words, and it does.
It does.
Which is
Not
cool.
that I want to protect the children or anything like that. I just wanted to learn how to do it.
It also helps you with companies like Nintendo. They request that you do that before you.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hey, good to see you, Spoon Shiro. Yeah, we're playing PSYCUTLERY. I think everybody should know about PSYCUTLERY, or they will soon. And I'm gonna. This is a great thing, right? Check this out. We get a screen where you can kind of customize the game a little. Instead of choosing difficulty, you choose your health, and it gives you these little notes. I love this, Luke. I love that it gives you these little notes. But so the regular is 4. I'm going to put it up a bit because I kind of suck at it. And
That's cool. That's why I have the options.
exactly. It's wonderful. I'll probably suck even more when I'm talking and asking you guys questions.
Yeah, probably a good idea for the stream.
All right, what are we going to call it? Do you guys want to come up with a name? Anybody in chat want to suggest a name?
Well, my cat is behind me right now. I don't know if you can hear him, but he said meow, so.
Okay, well, the cat has spoken.
Yeah.
Let's just say MEOW. We'll put a K so it's like a spork, like a meowk. Sporky B. Nah, too late, it's meowk, but thank you for the suggestion, Jerky. So, Luke, how long ago did you start this again?
I started this, I want to say 2011. I mean, I know I at least started the very concept. I know I think at the time, I think I may have still been working on my old fan game, Psycho Waluigi. I know I was working on it while working on my final fan game, Toadette Strikes. So that does put it somewhere in the 2011, 2012 range.
Gosh, Toadette Strikes. Yeah, I just remember that. I'll say the thing about your fan games, Luke, and I'm sorry to go on to the fan games, but the thing about them was that around the time, I remember one of the reasons I stopped making fan games was that people were kind of competing with each other for how impressive they could make their fan games, rather than how original they could make them. And yours always
How
had
can
this...
we recreate Mario Brothers 3 for the 18th time?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
The closer you can get to the physics, or you can create an effect that was not a particularly impressive effect, but one that you don't normally see created in Click and Create or the Games Factory or whatever, and everyone's impressing each other. And they don't... If it was like they didn't want to celebrate each other's games, they wanted to then outcompete each other, right? Instead of going, oh, that's impressive, they go, oh, how do I... It just sucked. And yours always had this great originality and great ideas, and that was...
Thank you.
Yeah, it's you should send me back to the early days of when we used to do it for fun.
Yeah, thing about my final fan game, Toadette Strikes, I was kind of deliberately making it a little bit jank like the first Toad Strikes Back, just because I wanted to focus on just having fun and being creative, not trying to,
Yeah, right. Well,
be
exactly.
polished.
I remember I put out a Mario Alpha sort of remake of the old Beaversoft Mario Alpha and you did some levels for it. And I specifically I used the default platform movement that was built into Fusion, and that was hated. Nobody used it, but I was like, you know what? That's not what it's about.
Yeah.
And so I did it on purpose and went with the jank, and that's what. Yeah, and I always loved your fan games for being more about the ideas and the creativity and the fun than about impressing each other. And same deal with this game, right? Everybody's downloading this for free right now. And
please download it.
do it. You'll be glad you did. Yeah, guys, everybody watching this, whether on Twitch or YouTube later or whatever, this is free, and it's huge, and it's one of my favorite platform games. I mean, I've been following it, Dev, and yeah. John, when did you... Sure, I'm gonna do this dialogue, and then I'm gonna ask you the question, okay? Because I realize that people are staring at a screen. I've never done a stream and an interview at the same time, so. Evil beware, for your executioners have arrived. This is Lillian, and she is a gorgeous character design, and this is Luke's hand-drawn art, which then was converted into pixel art with some little tricks that I helped you to sort of to master with the Photoshop tricks and stuff. And it's look at it, look at that beautiful spork. So, who wants to be our first victim? The cheese will be the first victim. Cheese? I wonder what it did to earn the classification of being evil. Other than tempting me to break all the New Year's resolutions and consume... Yeah, you know what? That cheese is going down. Look at these beautiful portraits. It's very sort of Shantae. Hey, so I was going to say, John, when did you first get involved with PSYCUTLERY?
Oh, God. I'm going to guess 2017, I believe, because that's when I was looking at some of my files and noticed that was the... rendering date or the creation date of the first song for this game, which was the one that's going to be coming up later on. Oh, cool. It was I did the music for Psycho Waluigi as well, and then when Toadette Strikes Back, I actually have 2 songs that Luke actually managed to keep for all this time. And then after that, I had to go through a big life change, and I was off the internet, off of computers, everything for quite some time. Got back into the internet and said, hey, I miss Luke, and I feel bad that I never got to finish the rest of the soundtrack for that game. And so I just kind of scoured the internet, being like, hey, can anyone on the old website, MFGG, can anyone get me back into communication with him and, let him know that I'm sorry that I never was able to finish that soundtrack. And Luke, being the amazing individual that he is, was absolutely like, yeah, not a problem at all. I've still got those songs if you want to hear them. And actually, I've got this little indie game kind of going on. And I said, oh, that's awesome. Good for you. And he said, the one thing that I really need for this game right now that I'm struggling with actually is music. And I'm not sure, Luke, did you say you were hoping I was going to jump on board, or you were just like, I need anyone to follow up with
I kind of was hoping specifically for you, I'm not going to lie, since you were such a big help with my past projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. So when I first started this, I was first learning how to compose music, and honestly, I wasn't very good at first, and I kept at it. I got a little bit better, and some of my songs actually did wind up in the game. In fact, before I knew it, I made half the whole soundtrack, and it kind of amazed me because beforehand, I'm just completely new.
Testament to the sort of quirky originality of Luke here. They created most of their songs in this game on a 3DS or a DS, if I remember right.
Yeah, Nintendo 3DS. There's basically there was an app on the 3DS eShop when it still existed called, I think, Korg MO1D or something like that. Basically, it's a recreation of this 1980s synthesizer, and I just got so into it, and I just figured, hey, I can just plug my 3DS into my computer and record it straight off my 3DS, and that's how I wound up with my songs.
I love it so much, and it speaks so much about this game in general. I was just gonna say,
do you still have it?
What, my 3DS?
The 3DS with that app?
Yeah, in fact, I was using that app earlier today when I was out.
Fantastic.
That's beautiful. And I mean that's the thing about Luke is they're amazing with the creativity, and not only that, but learning really quickly. So I mean, this went from ClickTeam Fusion to a Unity project. Not just I was able to figure out the physics and programming and everything, but like we're talking, hey, I was able to recreate entire levels in the span of what, a year.
That's fun.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I forget what I was going to say. Go
I'm
on.
so sorry. Well, I'll say about this, and then we'll go back to that because I got something to say about that as well. But just saying here that before I carry on, the dialogue is one of my favorite things about this game, and it is effectively Luke's sort of stream of consciousness, kind of quirky. It's very
Kind of
paper.
is, yeah.
Yeah, it's very Paper Mario, and it kind of inspired me to allow more. Because with Spectacular Sparky, John Locke wrote a whole bunch of dialogue for it, and I cut it down a lot so that there's less in the game, and because I worry about people getting fed up of reading or listening to voiceover or whatever. And in some ways, this game inspired me to allow more dialogue through because I enjoyed so much reading the dialogue in this game, and still do, because it's just this beautiful, quirky stream of consciousness, and it's so good. But here, I've just been told to hit the jump button a bunch to do the Kirby style flaps, the infinite double jump. Not infinite double jump, the 5 double jumps, I believe it was.
Yeah, 5 or 6. To be honest, I forget, and here I am having spent hours programming that.
Yeah, but it's because you feel a game like this, right? You don't remember numbers, you feel it. But
yeah,
and
exactly.
Lillian responds, "Verily so. Beware, oh unsuspecting jump button. I'm going to mash you so rapidly that I'm going to break all of the controllers." And Meowk has nothing to say about that. Or I'll just calmly and rhythmically push it, preferably at the height of my jump. Yeah. Right on. Remember, you can jump many times in the air. Take advantage of that, but don't tire yourself out too much. I suggest practicing air jumping anywhere and everywhere. It will become a very important skill down the line, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, so it's that, and it's great. And so what I was going to say was, because this was started in Fusion and then finished in Unity. It you sort of swapped over, and you had quite a bit of it done already, didn't you, in Fusion?
Yeah, I had at least 6 levels or so done, along with a lot of the extra content and the system elements and so on.
Yeah, and this is where I can sort of talk about my part in it, because I, in a lot of ways, taught you Unity, right? Like, obviously there was, part of it involved just linking you to brackeys and things, but I kind of walked you through that transition that I had been through before, going from AVGN to AVGN 2 and Jump and Shoot Attack and stuff, the same, Fusion to Unity. And we both kind of wanted to get away from Fusion for a lot of reasons. Many reasons.
Oh, yeah, dear Lord.
Which I could write a whole book about. But, I mean,
Indeed.
obviously Unity has its flaws as well, but I just think it's such a fantastic engine, generally speaking.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Sam's next stream is going to be all about why Fusion is not relevant anymore.
It could be one day. Okay, I'll say this, right? Because there are probably people that are going to watch this that love Fusion, and that's fine. I find that people who can get quite angry if you if you criticize their game engine. I get a lot of Unreal bros who get very mad when I say it's not ideal for some types of game. And I think Unreal is amazing, but I wouldn't use it to make this, for example. You could, but don't, right?
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I played some pretty good Fusion games lately.
Yeah,
from this modern era too.
My problem is it's fallen very far behind other game engines, including its own sorry, I skipped that page there. It's its own competitor, Game Maker Studio, which is now a lot better than it, and it wasn't always, But okay, so here's the thing I'll say about Fusion. Okay, so Fusion is or was it's very. Hold on, there we go. So you get these abilities, which is your secondary ability, which is awesome. My favorite one is the sing a song.
Oh yeah, mine too.
It's everyone's favorite.
Yeah. So the thing about ClickTeam Fusion, this is so interesting trying to talk about a Fusion and interview you guys and stream a game at the same time with dialogue in. My brain is like it's entered a state machine. It can't multitask. So, what did I say? No, the thing with Fusion was it's if you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, make a game without code," right? And it's like, yeah, Unreal Engine blueprints, but even with blueprints, you're effectively coding. You need to know what an integer and a float are. You need to know about switch statements and if else, or branches as they're called in blueprints. The thing about Fusion and maybe constructs is that it truly is code free, right? You don't need to know even the concepts, like what an integer, you don't need to know what an integer or a float is even to make a game in Fusion. It's just a spreadsheet with a bunch of checkboxes, and it's plain English, and it's fun. But it's also extremely, extremely limited. And if you want to port your game to consoles, you're going to have a real hard time with that. So as I moved on to being more of a commercial and professional game dev, I also changed engine. And I believe you just wanted to get away from Fusion as well,
Yeah, it's just beginning to prove too limiting, and it's been creating a lot of technical issues, honestly, because it got to the point where even my own computer was struggling to run the game, and I thought, I really should get away from this.
Yeah. So this is the interesting thing, right? Because if you're not coding in any way, then how do you compile the code? So that's the thing about Fusion and Construct as well, sort of. It's not compiling any code. It is compiling when you have a game made in Fusion. Okay, we're going to go to. I'm going to just stop the game for a second while I say this, and then I'm going to move on to talking about the game again, so we can watch this this part. But the thing about Fusion is any exe file of a Fusion is almost the same as every other Fusion game. It's like a player, and all of the events and actions and conditions and all the stuff you do to program a Fusion game are also included. So it's like an emulator with a ROM. So it's kind of interpreting and playing the game in real time, which is a lot like running an emulator. So that's why performance is just god awful. I think Construct actually now compiles HTML5. Well, not compiles as such, but it creates HTML5 code, so that's a little better. But
I was
anyway.
just gonna say that's at least the difference is that Construct isn't trying to disguise that it's becoming an HTML5. It's like, no, this is literally what it is. This is what it is, you guys.
Yeah.
Whereas Fusion is still trying to be like, you're compiling.
Yeah, it's a game. Yeah, there was actually the thing Chowdhury and the the programmer Matthias, who did the original AVGN 1 port, who actually has a system that effectively decompiles a Fusion game and then recompiles it as pure C++, where he has a bunch of C++ methods that replace every single action condition event. It's insane. Just use Unity, guys.
That's a lot of work.
I remember there was a game, it was the one that made me decide to move on. There was a game where somebody was effectively recreating Resident Evil 2 in Fusion, right? And what they did, they used their OpenGL plugin that sent instructions to an OpenGL renderer. And it looked like a PS1 game, obviously, and it ran like absolute shit, even on modern hardware. And it took years for him to create that. And it was like, in the time that it took you to figure that out, you could have just learned Unity. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go to the game.
Yeah.
It began some 50 years ago, long before I was even a thing. Our tale begins in the depths of space aboard an orbital restaurant known as the Tynes Diner. I love this so much. And there's John's awesome music as well.
Oh God, right. That's been going on this whole time on loop.
I'm pretty sure everybody can hear it because it's just whatever's in my headphones they're hearing now. I've just set it to record that, which includes you guys. Yeah, is this the first one you made?
No, so this one, well, this is the main theme. So the song that was playing before, actually, not entirely sure because I can't hear the music, but give me one quick second. I'm going to unmute this.
Unmute.
No, that's the main thing. Okay, so the one that was playing before was actually a title screen before. It was the first version of the title song. And then Luke had the brilliant song and saying, do you think you could make a new title song? I had no idea why, but they just asked for that. And I was like, yeah, let me see what I can come up with. And
this
then I
dialogue.
did, and it worked perfectly with the spork blocks coming up the screen there. I was like, oh, we did it.
I always have to make my action sync with your music.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry, this
I will.
dialogue is so good. Sorry, carry on.
Oh good. I love the dialogue too. Honestly, like I don't know how you do it there, Luke. It just. I was also going to say the fact that you take the person out, like you create not only this hilarious dialogue, yet emotional dialogue that has good ups and downs to it, but like you manage to create a personality that's consistent with every character that has their own whims and ways of talking. You know, I love seeing that.
Yeah, I'm glad you think that way, because when I replayed this for the final testing, I just noticed that my writing style can at times be a little repetitive. I don't know if others might notice, but I do, and that was just kind of starting to bug me a
didn't.
little.
I can tell you that I haven't noticed it.
Yeah, you're fine. It's
Everyone's their own worst critic, right?
yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to say. But yeah, I will always remember the time that about. I know I'm talking Psycho Waluigi again, but just always you probably know already where I'm going with this, Luke. But I always remember the time. Yeah, about the credits for Psycho Waluigi, where I didn't even. So Sam, I didn't even tell Luke that I was going to make a credits song. In fact, Luke, I'm pretty sure you were just using a different piece of music. You were like, "Oh, I'll just find some whatever MIDI to upgrade," and then all of a sudden I had this idea. I put it through. It was in my head. Jotted it down. I think I did almost a completed one before I sent it to you, and said, "Here you go. I made this credits type song. Does it work?" And then you were like, "Oh my god." Because I've already done a credit sequence and it matches up almost perfectly. How did you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. How did you sync up all your events to work with my music?
Sometimes these things are celestial, right? Sometimes they just kind of happen in the world. You guys have got a connection. Yeah, right. It's like it's like
it's Psycho.
Something about cutlery. I just saw Carl in chat saying "nene," and that's a reference to I've been crashing Carl DGF Manny there. I've been crashing his streams and always playing the Family Guy singing Star Wars, and so he's come to. Hi Carl, good to see you. And also Jerky says that he wants to practice Unity for the sake of his day job. I appreciate that. Angus Beer is here, who did some animation on Toxic Crusaders, some of the idle animations and stuff, who's very talented pixel animator. Good to see you. Hello there, Carl.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of good people here. Jumpin' Jet says free, and Hyperjerk and you, John, say free. Yes, it's free. No catch either.
Free.
It's not one of these ones where they give you it for free and then they like fleece you for 99 cents every 5 minutes. It's not ads.
DRM.
It's just a labor of love, right, Luke?
Yeah. I just want to share it with y'all.
Some people, it's. I wish I could do that. I've got to pay my bills and stuff. But for you, money is it's an anxiety, right? And like, why do it for a labor of love? So I think that's incredible. Chat, bow tie or garland? I'll let chat decide on that. These are the upgrades for the sport. Bow tie, right? Got one vote for bow tie.
Go for the bow tie.
So yeah, my part in this was like, I helped you to learn Unity. I complained when the difficulty was high. It's more that I sucked at the game, to be honest. Right, we got 2 votes for Bowtie. That's enough for me. 3 votes for Bowtie. Awesome. Thank you, chat. And I contributed a song. Oh, this is tempting.
It's the best song in the game.
Well, I mean, yeah. No. I mean, you're too modest, sir. Yeah, so what I love this is the flashback, but this is the flashback through through Lillian's narration, and so she's changing things to make it a more interesting game and commenting on that as well, which I just love. That's right. Sorry. So this
modifying
restaurant.
memories.
Yeah, exactly. The Tynes Diner was owned and operated by head chef Francis Tynes. Here we go. Who some would say was perhaps the greatest psychic who ever lived. They say that one of his power, oh, sorry, yes, they say that one of his power could have conquered the world if he wanted. But no, he instead decided to use his powers to just do chef stuff, I guess. Talk about a missed opportunity. Oh, but hey, people love that sort of silly novelty thing, and he was doing some good business. It helped that he didn't need to hire any wait staff, since he had his mentally controlled utensils bring out all the food. Man, I wish I was that guy. I see you have one of his utensils. Indeed, Meowk once worked at this very restaurant. So yeah, now you know Meowk's dark, gritty origin story. More on that in a bit. For now, we'll leave the Master Chef to his work. In the meantime, more mindless action scenes.
Yeah, eat his food. Eat it all.
Says mindless action scenes. As Luke is here being like, it spent me 6 years programming all that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
terribly sorry, but this area is for staff only. Huh? Oh, I apologize. I know you, and you do work here. So, who's the kid? Did they take your daughter to work there or something? I tell you what, it sure is lonely being the only non-utensil besides Chef Tynes working here. I'm not so sure he isn't one himself. So, what I was going to say was, I feel like this, not to, I don't know if I can do that. Not to say anything is derivative here, because this is highly original and unique, but the dialogue has always given me Paper Mario vibes. Where the gameplay...
I've gotten that kind of a lot, even with my older projects.
Yeah.
That's an astute way of putting it.
Yeah. And I found the dialogue to be very Paper Mario. The gameplay, although it's a pick up and throw, the gameplay and level design, I often got a bit of a Yoshi's Island vibe. And not just because
was a huge inspiration.
Yeah, and not just because the character, uses effectively an invisible Yoshi tongue, but just the way some of the level layouts and even just some of the level gimmicks and things. And it's just great because those are games that I love.
Yeah, I just love platformers with more adventurous level designs. So specifically, Super Mario Bros. 2, Yoshi's Island, those kind of games were my biggest inspirations. Kirby to a certain extent.
Yeah. Oh yes, there's Kirby in here too.
Yeah, a lot of Kirby actually.
So check out these portraits where we have a rainbow over a waterfall. We have a duck lady, a car, some guys, and a guitar. Hold on, who's the three guys?
The Wall-E brothers.
Oh.
Yeah, remember
that,
Wall-E?
That is an inside joke there, yeah.
It almost makes me think of in the UK Sonic the comic, there was the Marxio brothers, and it was basically the Super Mario Brothers mixed with the Marx brothers.
That's
This
so
character
cool.
gives me a Space Harrier vibe almost. That enemy, I mean. See how chat's doing. But Yoshi vibe. How did you not read that line in Hank's voice? I'll tell you what. Boy, howdy. The Tynes Diner was Francis Tynes' life's work. His pride and joy. That's weird.
Great
God,
impression.
that was way too accurate.
Yeah, great impression.
You're
Well,
gonna get us
that there's
copyright
a
strike.
dang old found video game, I tell you what. Through his cooking and the mundane spectacle of his methods, he in turn brought joy to many of his patrons. He was living the dream, rolling in dough, king of the world and all that. It's pretty obvious where this is going, so why don't you just come out and say it? This is the part where it all comes crashing down on him, ain't it? See, it's just things like I wouldn't have thought to have somebody interrupt and say, "Oh, this is the part where this happens, right?" And the character said, "Yeah, it's just the things that I would have never thought of." Maybe John Writer might have, but it's just I feel that your mind, Luke, is so unique and creative, and it shows in every
Thank you.
little thing. It all happened one day when the diner was invaded by something. Oh, this is cool. Seemingly out of nowhere, the restaurant's whole atmosphere had changed dramatically in an instant.
Dun dun dun.
So I was going to say this before. I love the checkpoints because it's a block of stone, and you you sculpt yourself out of it to create a checkpoint.
Yeah.
Can you believe, Chef Tynes? Space around the restaurant is all changing colours all of a sudden, and you know what he says? Fix the pipes. I mean, it's my job and all, but you think he would have mentioned all this rainbow nonsense? I mean, after a thorough inspection of the plumbing, I have determined that the leaks were caused by otherworldly phenomena, with all signs pointing to the category of reality warping. In other words, some kinds of things causing all the funky colours in space. Speaking from my experiences as a fairy space plumber, that usually isn't a good sign. But hey, I have a family to feed. You, though, I'd politely encourage you to leave this place ASAP. So here's the thing about PSYCUTLERY, right? It's wholesome and quirky and cute. It also can get a little dark. In some ways, I think of it as the Undertale of platform games.
Oh.
Aw.
Yeah. I'll take that comparison.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Hold down the jump button to swim. Yes, hold it down. You don't need to repeatedly press it. That would just be ridiculous. So now you can enjoy swimming to its max extent, though, come to think of it, I don't think this place is even supposed to have a swimming pool, or corals growing out of the floor for that matter. So it's hold jump to swim, right? And I saw, now you can tap it does work, but I've seen people just tap, 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 tap while playing it, right? We saw people play like the demo and just going tap, 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 tap like that, even after all of that dialogue. And it's true, I learned this from Sparky. Sometimes you just can't teach some players. You try everything. You can have, that was some pretty strong dialogue explaining that. They'll still ignore it.
Yeah, for what you just said, that's pretty much the reason why I added all that extra dialogue, so it would sink in.
Yeah, there was in Sparky the dash maneuver, which is a core maneuver for the game. Just sing a song. So check out this power up, guys. Check it out.
Do it.
Sing a song.
So good. So yeah, in Sparky, the dash maneuver is so important to the game, and a lot of people got stuck on it because they just forgot to do it. And I put so many reminders and so much in there, and sometimes you just can't teach people.
Yeah, I think you even had like a wall that required you to use the move.
Well, what happened was we put those walls that you couldn't get past without using the move in, and I think people went, this move is for getting through those walls.
Yeah,
and they didn't use it for anything else. The essential dash maneuver, says Carl. Yeah, that's the dialogue from the game. Wow, the first rainbow stuff, then the rainbow stuff, then the water, now indoor space snow. What doesn't this restaurant have? I wonder what I'll get next. Actually, should I be afraid of what it will get next? No, seriously, I get the feeling that maybe, just maybe, I should be maybe a little terrified.
Good job. By the way, if anyone decides to take any of the notes out of Sing a Song, whatever order they appear in, they're all copyrighted Luke Turlo.
No, they're not.
They'll sue your pants off. Like a full-on Spax 3 style. I'll get my mom to sue you. You guys remember Spax 3?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Ridiculous Sonic YouTuber that used to scream about the voice actor that played Sonic in...
oh, no.
Not Ryan Drummond, the second Sonic voice actor, Jason Griffith. He used to get so mad that he would start screaming about Jason Griffith. He thought he was the AVGN, but he didn't realize that AVGN is a joke character, you know?
Yeah, if you're not being a character, you're just screaming at a wall.
Yeah. Carl says, who are your guests, Mr. Sam? Introduction. Sorry, Manny says, who are your guests, Mr. Sam? Introduction. Yes, we did introduction at the start, but obviously some people are in now. So with me I have Luke Turlo, who is the actual developer of this game and a very old internet friend of mine, one of my best internet friends. Say hello.
Oh, thank you. Hello. I'm Luke.
And this is also, for anybody else tuning in, I also have John, who is the composer for this game and also a good internet friend of mine.
I'm the one with the deep voice.
Yeah, coming all the way from Canada, and where were you based, Luke, in the US again?
I'm in New Jersey.
New Jersey. How did I forget that? I remember we talked about Bon Jovi and all sorts. Well, I'm not going to do voices for all the dialogue because I found that doesn't work whilst also talking with you guys and stuff. The distortion. Here we go. Makes you wonder, but we can wonder later once we're out of this place. I'll do voices when there's nothing else in the air. No other voices going on, you know. So, Yeah, your level design. So, Luke, I've always admired your level design because that's the thing, right? I'm pretty good at.
yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Hold on. Here's the look at this creepy stuff. Oh shit.
Oh, I hate this track. I will say that.
No, he's pretty good.
It's one take, improvised on a guitar with effects, which I could never replicate.
Oh, that's so cool
I
though.
don't know why.
I've
And
never done anything like that.
Yeah, but it's not great.
But it fits
and-
perfectly.
Yeah.
I guess so. And you did express that before, but I will say if there's anything that I'm like not a fan of, it's that one. But anyways, you were talking about level design.
Yeah, I was going to say that. See, for me, I'm pretty good at making the game movement, tweaking everything, making the game feel good. Right? I always think I'm good at game feel and core design. Once I'm laying out the levels, I'm like, I don't know. In fact, I often delegate some of that to you, don't I? In fact, you're doing you're my designated.
I'm happy to share ideas with you. That was fun with Sparky.
Oh yeah, and yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. And I'm sort of delegating some of the level design for Incredible Freddy to yourself, along with some of the game design.
Freddy, I can't wait to work on that.
Yeah.
Can't wait for everyone to see it.
Here we go.
Oh. Yeah. In fact, this same stuff was seen centuries earlier on our very planet of Geosaic. Is that right? Geosaic?
Geosaic.
Back then, it was known as the Distortion. Dun dun dun. After nearly destroying our world, the Distortion was warped off somewhere by somebody called the Mother of Teleportation. Same person who invented those teleportal doors we see everywhere, in fact. Nobody knew where she warped the Distortion off to, but as soon as Tynes saw the light coming out from this planet, he knew it hadn't gone far. Knowing this, and without a diner to call home, he gave up being a chef, turning to the life of a wandering hermit. Soon he became convinced that the Distortion was casually stuffed inside Geosaic's only volcano, so he would train to defeat it. He would hone his mind and his powers, becoming a psychic unlike any other. He became a legend among psychics, eventually earning the title of Master Tynes. But as powerful as he became, he lamented upon the fact that he still wasn't strong enough to topple an incomprehensible abomination. So he'd train and train some more, but that kind of took a lot of time. And time ended up metamorphosing him into an old coot. He reached the age where even going upstairs had become a challenge for him, which meant so much for taking down incomprehensible cosmic horrors. Oops. Not all hope was lost, though. He just needed a wee bit of help. Aye, a wee bit of help. My granddad had a thick Scottish accent. He used to say everything was wee. He even used to say, "Och, aye, the new," which Scottish people say. They go, "Oh, Scottish people never say that. That's just a stereotype." My granddad used to say that. Actually, he was English, but he was born in England, and then his parents moved with him to Scotland when he was like 1 year old. So he grew up in Scotland. So I don't know what that counts for, but. And yeah, we made it past the scary parts of the story. Now we can all relax and breathe easy.
Don't worry, there will be a lot more scarier parts later.
Oh, yes.
Much scarier than this. Much scarier.
Whoops.
We get Ocarina of Time vibes from that.
Yeah. Yes, it's that sort of string pad in the music. It's very Majora's Mask, isn't it? Whoops.
Yeah, actually, that's a good kind of weird segue to Luke and their music. That's kind of what I was also alluding to, is how quickly that Luke was able to learn because it's the music too. Because I mean, with I don't know, for Toadette Strikes Back, did you do MIDI, upgraded MIDIs for that as well?
Yeah, more or less sound-fonted MIDIs.
Gotcha. Okay, so you were working on that, and it was just MIDIs and sound fonting them up the instruments, and all of a sudden you're coming up with this spectacular music using a 3DS, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Because I heard it and I went, yeah, the instruments are maybe a little bit on the like older side, not I'll say retro side. Because
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is
want
an
any
indie
negative connotations.
synthesizer.
Exactly. I went, how did you do this? This isn't MIDI. And you're like, oh yeah, no, it's a 3DS app. And I'm like, wait, so you have to put these notes in these chords, and I'm like, you got it, it's crazy. I don't know how you did it.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm still learning.
I'm really sorry to interject, but if you guys can hear these baby voices.
Oh, I forgot.
Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, one point in time, so my daughter was actually born during the production of this game. So did Sam's son.
Thank you, Tina. I'm so sorry, John. Thank you, Tina, for the raid. I really appreciate it, and thank you for dropping in. See, I was just coming back in a minute anyway. So, yes, sorry. Please continue, John. It's multitasking.
No worries. So yeah, I at one point in time I was just like, oh, my daughter's making some noises. She was I think a year old at the time. So I recorded it and I shared it with you guys on our little Discord chat, and it was like, oh, listener, she's so cute and everything. And then like 6 months later, Luke's like, here's a build. And I play the build and I get to this part and I'm listening and I'm like, oh, they sound cute. They sound familiar. What is that? And I go and ask Luke, I'm like, wait, did you just use my daughter's recordings?
Yes, I did.
And yeah, Luke was like, absolutely. I couldn't not do it.
Immortalized in this wonderful game.
Absolutely.
And finally, Daisy's voice also has a small cameo in Spectacular Sparky as well. Sorry, should I? It was okay to use your daughter's name then? Sorry, just.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, it just came out.
Yeah, she's literally credited as a production baby.
Okay, yes, I know some people can be very protective about their kids on the internet, so I just realized I just blasted out her name there. But yeah, her voice also makes a cameo in Spectacular Sparky as well.
I was funny because I told her later, I said, oh, that's you. You're a monster, without realizing what I'm actually saying to her. Luckily, she took that better than I did.
Oh,
it's a little thing. It's called a bomb pug. It looks like a little pug face, and it was designed by Carl, who's in chat right now. And it comes along and it drops a bomb. It just makes a little noise, which is actually a Daisy baby noise. To parenthood.
That's it.
Anyway, sorry, you were talking about the music before I rudely interrupted. Talking about the chords.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I was kind of finished with that tangent. Just again, amazed at Luke and their ability to make music, learn a whole new thing about music, and not just like MIDI and making sound fonts. Sorry to bring it down, but it's not difficult to do. But to take instruments and create everything out of it, that's not easy to do. And yet you did it so well with some of these songs. You just have a variety of things going on, and I was like, this soundtrack is amazing. Like, not my songs, your songs, and Sam's song as well. Of course, sorry, Sam, but I expected your song to be fantastic because you've already shown you've made so much good music, but I was just blown away with Luke's music.
But, I mean, your stuff is all it's all garbage, John. No, your stuff is all great as well. I mean, when I wrote my song that's in this, I went out of my way to try and I took my sort of melody style, but I also tried to match the style that you were going for with certain arpeggios and certain sounds and things. There's a real there's a real sort of signature to this game's soundtrack that brings it all together, and I'm sure that's intentional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because I was kind of trying to mimic John's style with my own songs, and it's pretty much, I'm just going to say that his songs more or less helped me learn how to compose.
Aw.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, that's interesting in its own way, just as a musician hearing your style, like pretending there's another version of you in a multiverse, and in this timeline, you learned how to make songs on a 3DS, and in this timeline, you've been making songs for a bigger company called Freak Zone. It's just like, it's weird. Like, oh, this is what it would sound like if there was another version of me.
1 second, guys. I just got to kick Low Costy from chat.
Oh, yeah.
How do I do that? How do you kick somebody from a chat, guys? I don't even know how to do it. I'm such a Twitch amateur. Well, they're Low Costy is sorry for bothering me, but they want to offer promotion of the channel, viewers, followers, views, chatbots, etc. The price is lower. Can we read that? I need to read that in an AI voice, right? The price is lower than any competitor. That's what AI sounds like, I've decided. I don't know how to boot somebody from. Well,
Yeah,
there's a little button
unfortunately,
here.
the
Is
other
that
two
it?
guys
Bam.
you have on your panel have no ID either.
Yes, mod and mod. No, boot. No, I don't want to give them mod abilities. Jeez. Right.
Oh, no.
There we go. They are gone.
Yay.
Sorry, guys. I should probably do the thing. You know, I see some streamers now, and they've got somebody monitoring chat for them. What were we talking about?
Actually, the dialogue on the screen right now perfectly encapsulates what just happened.
Perfect.
Excuse me.
I love how much Master Tynes loves his mustache. So getting me to tell the story was like a
He does not
puzzle.
love his mustache. There are those who love his mustache and those who are wrong.
Yeah, and those who haven't been granted the gift of sight.
You know, I'm actually trying to grow my mustache in real life to form that of Master Tynes.
Beautiful.
I just need to dye it white and then I'm good.
I'm rocking the beard at the moment, but I'm often a mustache guy. I always wanted to do just the mustache and nothing on the chin, but I can't pull it off. My jawline is too weak. You know, at best I'd be Ron Swanson without the charisma.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with.
I love that
Look
character.
like
Ron
Ron
Swanson's
Swanson,
like my
yeah.
spirit animal. I love when Ron Swanson character says, "Oh, Leslie tells me you're quite the feminist," and he says, "I don't consider myself anything ist, but women. My life has been run by powerful women. My father once told my mother that woman was created by that Eve was created by a rib of Adam, and my mom broke his jaw." So, somewhere in this game, there's actually a frog whose name is Freddy, which is makes me very happy. Because
yeah, in Frogs Can't Farm.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I'm so happy that this is out. I hope people love it as much as I do.
I hope so too. But your love means everything.
Thank you.
I'm just going to reiterate what I spoke in the Discord group, in the Eyes and Everything Discord group, that I'm just happy that everyone else is able to play this now, because now I can actually start talking to people about, all the different things in this game. You know how hard it's been to be like, look, Luke, this thing happened, and you're like, I know.
So I think we spent some time trying to find a way to make this game, you know, to release it. You know, we were trying to find ways to do it. Like I was trying to help and stuff, and yeah, you just went for, you know what, internet free, and I think that's beautiful. I think it's pure, and it's, you know, I hope it will find the audience it deserves. I could, you know, I couldn't afford to do a free one, and in a way I envy you for being able to, but yeah, it's I think it deserves all the audience it can get. And you know, obviously it will meet with criticism, because everything does, but
yeah,
I think that considering this is free, in a way, why would you pay for my platformers when you could get this beautiful thing for free, right?
Oh, no.
I'm being
everybody should buy Sparky.
Yeah, I'm being completely facetious, don't worry. It's I'm very glad that this is out there.
Yeah, I am too. It's a
I
relief.
should have gone and spoken to Master Tynes there. Right, this is how you go places. Right, so hold on, which way am I going? I'm going this way, because I was just here, and I just did I just go back to the map? I was where I was supposed to be, and I just went back to the map, didn't I? Because I was busy.
Well, you could go to mission control and
Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna wander around the temple. Your training awaits through these doors. You can do them in any order, but you got to do them all if you have any hope of becoming a great psychic. Yeah. So there are a lot of optional levels in this as well, aren't there?
Yeah, each of the level doors you see has another level door in it. So there are 50 main levels, but there are also 50 secret levels, making for a total of over 100 levels.
Yeah, it's
And I'm pretty insane to have made that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just saw.
Not the insane part, but
Yeah.
Manny has just offered to moderate. Thank you so much, mate. And he also says he's really looking forward to streaming this game. So that's good.
Awesome. Look forward to the stream.
I'm so sorry if I just interrupted you guys then. I'm an amateur streamer, shall we say. I'm a game developer, and this is multitasking is crazy. Have I just given you mod powers, Manny? Yes, I think so.
Everyone in the chat.
Yeah, I don't
know. I might be mod.
But in trying to remove that scam account, that bot account, I made it a mod briefly and then banned it.
Yeah,
he's got the sword in his name. Uh-oh.
Oops. I love that when you take damage, Leon does this little woo! I love it. So here's the thing.
Yeah, again,
so there's sorry, Sean.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, so there's a thing in this where like there's not a single thing, right? No character will just go to you. You need 4 keys to open this door. Nobody will just. They'll say you need 4 keys to open this door. That's a bit weird, isn't it? Why 4? I don't know. And then they'll stare at each other for a while, and they'll say, and then somebody will talk about why 4 is a great number. It creates a rhythm, and every single
4 is the number of death in Eastern cultures.
There we go. Exactly. You see, this is why you write this and I don't, right? Because you have this. This is. I feel like. I mean this in the most affectionate way. I feel like this game is like a little portal into seeing inside your mind, Luke. You know, and I've always thought there's real brilliance in there, and you know, this game is how you, in a way, communicate to the world. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I'll admit I'm not the best communicator through conventional means, so I try to do so through art.
And I think that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. Everyone has a different way of explaining themselves, or I'm not finding the right words for this. You know what I mean, man. So this is the best way for you to be able to.
Yeah, I just usually show up and.
So understandable.
I usually just show up and throw my clothes off and scream. That's how I. Yeah.
Hey, I've not seen that happen yet. I'm missing out.
You've not been to any of my business meetings.
Oh, yeah. I'll get on that.
Yeah, the minutes are an interesting read.
I was going to say, again, as an audio guy, that I don't know how the heck you found these sound effects that are so impactful, you know?
Well, the thing is that there are all these royalty-free samples that were actually included with, of all things, Click Team Fusion. But I did, however, edit them in order to make them sound more unique and hopefully more punchy, you know?
Oh, yeah, they did do that.
I remember there was some good like laughs and things like that in the Fusion libraries.
Yeah, and Lillian's jump noises, I forget how I made them, but I want to say it was made from a completely different sample of, like, water dripping or something, and I just edited it until it started to resemble a jump noise.
Awesome.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I was thinking in Sparky, I was like, I want to sound like when you jump on a mushroom in Sonic and Knuckles, that, like, what? I was like, I don't know how to make that, and I couldn't make it with a synthesizer to make that Sega Mega Drive sound. So I went into I'd actually licensed the Hanna-Barbera sound library from Sound Ideas, which I use in a lot of my games, because I always had these, although I've got the 8-bit thing, I've always had cartoon sound effects, even back in the 90s. I had the silly cartoon sounds from like a CD I had of them. And so I actually found like, it was like a mud bubble sound, like a blop. And I just put it into Audacity, and I gave it a sliding pitch, and I added a bunch of stuff to it. I like made it play almost like a tune and stuff, and just got this and it's fun. What am I doing?
Yeah,
I always forget to do that. Sorry, go ahead.
You elevated that from being gross to I'm gonna throw up.
Sorry, forgive me. I sometimes forget those abilities because I'm chatting. This reminds me a little bit of an ability in Mario Galaxy 2, where you create.
Oh yeah, the cloud mushroom or whatever it was.
Oh.
Oops.
I think I personally based it off of more of the spider from Donkey Kong Country 2.
Oh, the webs, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, man, that's a game I've almost completely forgot about, but a brilliant one.
Oh, it's one of the few Super Nintendo games I had, and oh man, it was my childhood.
Just play a lot of Donkey Kong Country. I never had my own Super Nintendo, but they had one at Youth Club.
Yeah.
Just checking on chat. Manny can feel the power. Net Nerdy is mostly sending emotes and expressing one's self.
Oh,
Oops.
thank you. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. You got it.
Oh, I messed this up.
Good job.
Yeah, my
I
video
was-
is a little behind, but you want to use the cloud
Oh
platform
yes,
for
I
that.
just realized that just as you were saying it. Thank you. Oh, I've run out. Okay, I think I can make it now though.
Yeah, get another cloud platform. It's right above the door.
Oh, is it? Oops. Well,
Yeah.
I've made it now. Whoops. I'm sorry. I think I was a little bit ahead of. When how to put it? Because of the delay on the stream, I'd already moved on. But oh, I'm dead.
Yeah,
I'm dead.
It
Yeah,
does
I'm like
speak to the
5 to 10
versatility
seconds
of this
behind
game.
you.
Oh dear. Oh well, at least our voices are all synced up.
Yeah.
True. I was also just gonna say the powers, because you were talking about this earlier, Sam. You said it was sometimes forget about the powers, and that's what's great. Like the fact, not that you forget about the powers, but the fact that you have this basic set that's already so much fun to play in. You know, with the jumping, the sport, the fluttering, I'll call it, because I can't think of a better name for it. It's great to just have fun with that. But then in the later levels, like, you will not survive without the power-ups, and it
Yeah.
makes you really look into like how much the power-ups do help, which helps down the road when you start getting into wanting to do more with the levels, the same levels that you played. But now you're like, well, I wonder how much faster I could do that now that I could use these powers that I
Yeah.
totally forgot about.
Yeah, and that and the fact that some levels and bosses actually require the use of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's easy to pick up, difficult to master, which is what you want.
That's it.
Okay, so these, the diaries that you can find from Terra Zayek. This is, yo, diary, sup?
Can I also just say I love the character of Terra? Just everything.
Yeah. I like Terra too, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Interestingly, because, I got to play this a lot while you were making it, and the story sort of happened chronologically, right? Like, we didn't get to see the ending until you had got to the end. Like, not you finished the game, but you got to the, the end of the content. And so it was almost like, for me, there was like cliffhangers, like I got to check in every now and then
Yeah.
when the new build came. And what's really cool was I thought I knew where you were going. I was like, I think I picked up on something. There's a certain character who I think is this person or this person's mum and stuff like that. And you didn't. You didn't go where I thought you were going, and that's really cool. Oh, here is a song written by me.
Hey.
This was, if I remember right, you wanted to do something similar to, it was music from Aladdin on the Sega Mega Drive, which I had used a MIDI of for the old Freddy the Frog in '98, and we wanted something in that kind of vein.
Yeah, that MIDI that is from Aladdin, but I will forever associate with Freddy the Frog.
Yeah, and there's that pain in the ass sky level.
Yeah.
It was purposely a pain in the ass because I was like, the game's too short, I just want to release it. So I just elongated a level and made it a pain in the ass so that people wouldn't beat it. And I wanted, at the time, I used to use cheat codes in so many games, right? I would just cheat my way through Sonic 1 and 2. I don't think I'd beaten them at the time. And so I just assumed that people would, I put cheat codes in Freddy, and I assumed people would find that level too hard, do the cheat code, see the ending.
Yep. Up, down, left, right, A start.
Yeah. And in Freddy, I think it was you typed in FR on the title screen, and you pressed O on the opening scene, and then you pressed G at any time to skip to the next level.
That's so simple, yet there's no way anyone would have gotten that.
Yeah, but the point is they would go to zap.2/freakzone to download my games, and on there was also a list of cheats.
God.
So they would go there and get the cheats, and then they'd see the ending to Freddy, then come to the message board and talk about it.
I'd completely forgotten about redirections on the internet, the zap.to and go.to, and oh man.
Yeah, I just thought that because I saw that was what Biebersoft were using. There was welcome.to/Biebersoft. And
Yeah.
I thought Zap2 suited Freakzone more.
Yeah, or browsertech.cjb.net.
Yeah, Bowser technology. I mean, Freakzone, like, I came up with that at the time, and I still haven't changed it, and I don't think I ever will. But even at the time, I had a certain amount of irony, right? Like, so like, I love like a kind of a cheesy, Freakzone arcade kind of sounding thing. Manny's going to bed. Thank you so much. You've been awake since 3 a.m. The life of a parent. Huh?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my kid is. What time is it? Yeah, my kid is sleeping soundly currently, but he has been waking up and screaming randomly at times lately. So, all right, Mr. Manny, thank you so much for the help. Have a fantastic stream. Thank you. I probably won't be streaming till super late because it's UK time. It is 11:15 at night here right now.
Wow.
I want to keep my wife awake, but I continue talking to you guys for a while and playing this for a bit. Yeah, thank you for coming, Manny.
Thank you very much.
Manny's going to stream this at some point soon and do all of the crazy voices that he does.
Make sure you let us know before you stream.
Yeah, let us know. He always puts his updates also in the, if you guys are in Freakzone Games Discord, he always announces his streams in the streams and stuff channel in there as well. Right, let's do to the top of the temple. To top the temple, I mean.
Luke, have I ever told you?
I already did this one.
That I have the old MFGG EasyBoard URL memorized in my head.
Hub69.easyboard.com/bmfgg.
Actually,
or Thunder Dragon's boards. I'm sorry.
You got it.
Yeah, you remember better than I do.
Ryan mentioned easy boards. That was weirdly ahead of its time when you think about it. Because we used to be like, you go to the Freakzone Games message board, you sign up, you set your name. Actually, at the time, you didn't even need to sign up. But
are you talking about when forums used to be like guest books?
Yeah, it was that for a while, but it was with EasyBoard. It was like you used your EasyBoard account across the internet. So it's like a lot like modern social media. Like, well, I would say like Twitter, more like Mastodon, which is like, it's like Twitter, but it's split into smaller communities. I guess like Discord. And also Link's Quest says, greetings from the Netherlands. Somebody in Holland. Good to see you. Thank you for being here.
We are reaching all over the world today.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Or tonight,
Netherlands.
depending on your time zone.
Speak of the Netherlands, thank you for 2 Unlimited.
And here's Freddy the Frog.
Oh, yeah, here's Freddy.
Oh.
Look at that. Frog Farmer Fred. Wonderful. Thank you for that. I love these. This is the Super Mario Bros. 2.
Yep. That's exactly what I ripped off for this.
And this music, if I remember right, was written by you, Luke.
Yes, it was one of my first songs. I can't believe it turned out as good as it did.
Do you know, it gives me vibes of all things, it gives me vibes of the Human League.
Oh, wow.
There's certain tracks on some of their albums, or almost a little bit like, almost, I don't know what song I'm thinking of, but I'm thinking of the Human League and maybe a bit of Bowie.
Awesome.
Something about those chords, those, I can't think of another word, but the grading chords come in and mixed with the calmness of the rest of it. I don't know, it gives me just good vibes. Like, I could listen to the song on loop to get me to sleep.
Aw.
What's the word? Not grating, it's,
yeah, right?
It's one of those ones where I'll finish stream and I'll go, what was that?
Yeah.
Discordant, no.
Discordant chords.
Yeah, discordant chords.
Yeah.
James Corden. That's right, America can keep him.
Well, my country created Nickelback and Justin Bieber, so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what are you doing, John? What'd you do that for? But also,
Yeah, little did you know, I own a music studio and decided to employ them. Some off
Yes.
YouTube thought their music was fantastic.
but also the raccoons. Let's be fair.
Oh yeah, okay. One good deed does not make up for everything else.
I don't.
Yeah, but didn't you create Rush?
Oh, you know what? Okay, yeah, that
Also,
trumps all of it.
you guys have bacon the correct way. The way we do, you know, it's thicker. Canadian bacon, that's what the people in the US say, right?
Funny enough, I hate Canadian bacon.
Really?
Yeah, Canadian bacon. Oh yeah, no, I'm like, this is just ham.
Well, sort of. I mean, I don't know. I have British bacon, which I've always assumed is similar to you guys, but I know it's not that sort of thin strips of salty, piggy pointlessness that the Americans have.
I like how we started talking about food because we're seeing food in the game, you know?
Oh yeah.
This is literally food the game.
Press X to pick up the poutine. Maple syrup. Go.
How do you know what a poutine is?
It's chips and fries. What, chips and cheese curds and gravy.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome. But I'm British, so my opinions on food are not valid.
Who says?
Most Americans. Our food here is based entirely on necessity. You know, a lot of the popular dishes here came from a time when we were rationing. You know, it was what can you make with what you've got left.
Right. I was watching a food film. You know, we were getting way off track here.
Hey, it's good. It's good. Good. It's quirky games, quirky talk. It's great. What are you saying?
I was watching a food video episode where we were talking about how carrots don't actually help your vision any more than any other food. There's a whole bunch of food that help your eyesight way better, and it was propaganda done to help out during World War I don't know, 1 or 2 that Britain created because they only had a certain amount of ingredients available during that time.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's my fault.
Back in 1930. Oh, I'm not going to guess the year. I'm fooling myself. Forget it. Anyways, these sprites are nice looking. I don't think we've talked about that.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Very Super Nintendo, or almost kind of arcadey from the time, I think.
I like to think. I'm sorry, Luke. You can give your words there in a moment. I like to think of this as like either advanced Super Nintendo or like say not Sega CD, but like that. You know, the music is very much kind of in that style of that era, and the sprite work being like, oh, it's not 16-bit, it's 32-bit, right?
I never really put any thought to bits and what have you not. I just wanted to just do quick pixel art because I wanted to focus more on the game rather than the art, to be honest. So pixel art is just the quickest and easiest to work with, honestly.
Well, it's beautiful.
Thank you. But yeah, as for the actual style, I mean, I didn't really aim to emulate any specific consoles or anything like that. But if anything, I was most inspired by the Game Boy Color of all things.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, you say SNES, someone earlier said Sega Genesis, but it's Game Boy Color.
Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, I honestly say Game Boy Color more than Game Boy Advance due to the simplicity of the tiles. It's just pretty much Game Boy Color tiles, but with more colors.
I see where you're coming from. These tiles here, specifically, that I'm looking at now, they're very Mario Land 2, a little bit Wario Land, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty much right out of Wario Land to some degree.
Loved.
You're right.
I remember Wario Land 2. I absolutely loved Wario Land 2. Fantastic.
Same.
You guys should get me into playing that one of these. The farthest I got was Mario Land 2.
2 is just awesome.
I love Mario Land 2, but you have to play the Wario games.
Yeah.
I guess I should.
Yeah.
But I remember Wario Land 2, the cool thing about it, and what was new at the time, was that you couldn't die, you could just lose your money. And it used that as a gaming mechanic, so you could do things like light yourself on fire and run around on fire to like unlock parts of the level.
Yeah.
So you get something to crush you so that you were tiny and flat and you could go underneath a small gap and things. It was, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Wario Land 2 first came out, I was kind of skeptical about the whole immortality thing, but in the end, it turned out to be pretty brilliant.
Yeah, in a way, it sort of makes me think of Sonic. Because although you can die in Sonic, and each time you lose rings, you risk it gets harder to pick them back up. But like the whole thing is that, like, did you say Freddy? Oh yeah, it's Freddy. Frog Farmer Fred, and she calls him Freddy. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's like the whole thing of dropping your rings and being able to pick them up again is based on the fact that it's quite easy to bump into stuff in a game that goes that fast. And even though the game is actually designed around hitting stuff and not being punished for it that much, people still go, "Oh no, I can hit stuff." It's like it's not. Anyway, sorry, I'll get into a whole rant about how people in the US don't understand Sonic. But the point is, yeah, Wario Land 2 had that brilliant thing, which is like, oh, you just lose money, you don't die. Glorious globs of goo. Is this the Mario Land 2 thing?
Yes, it is.
Oh, gosh, remember, this was a thing I always remembered in Mario Land 2 was swimming in floating globs of liquid. I think it was tree sap in Mario 2.
Yeah, yeah, tree sap. That level is pretty much the highlight of the whole game for me.
It's so different, isn't it?
Yeah, and the fact that the tree sap has these cowfish swimming in it is just another level. Needless to say, that inspired this to a significant degree.
The
first time
Yep. Sorry, did that enemy just... Did you make it so if you're in the middle of dialogue and the enemy tries to... You, it just defeats itself?
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, it's a little fail-safe I threw in.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Back to what you were saying.
And the second time I remember seeing that concept after Mario 2, I was surprised I didn't see it more in other Mario games, but I remember seeing it in Donkey Kong Jungle Beat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know if it was content that was only on the Wii version or if it was in the original game. I didn't play the version with the bongos on the GameCube, but I had the Wii version, which was called a New Play Control Donkey Kong Jungle Beat.
Oh, yeah.
And it turned it back into a platformer, so you just used left and right to move and A to jump. But you did some of the bongo stuff by moving the Wii remotes for certain things, but it actually turned it back into a platformer. And it's legit really good. But it has stages with floating blobs of water that you swim in the sky. And I was like, wow, I haven't seen that since Mario 2. I recommend that game if you've never played it. Specifically the Wii version, though, not the version where you play it using bongo drums.
Yeah, I gotta say the bongos kind of threw me off from ever wanting to touch that thing.
I think it's why I never played it on the GameCube. But
yeah, I think I only played it in a store demo with the bongos. It was interesting. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been really cool, but at the time, I mean, Nintendo were all going with the gimmicks at the time, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that the Wii version is less gimmicky speaks volumes.
Yeah, on the gimmick console, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what it was called, they kept the stuff where it was really satisfying, right? So there were enemies, there were boss fights, which you get the boss's health to like near zero, and then you just enter this mode where you shake the remote and nunchuck to beat the crap out of it with left and right hooks and stuff.
Oh, that's got to be satisfying.
Oh, so good, so good. You remember, the thing in Zelda where like you have to stun the boss and then you wail on it. So imagine you're playing a normal platform game and then you stun the boss and then it enters this like punch out, just flail your arms mini game to.
Yeah, I mean, Tropical Freeze actually does the same thing.
Oh, yeah, it does. I guess they carried it over from Jungle Beat, but yeah, honestly, I highly recommend the Wii version of Jungle Beat. It's massively underrated.
Awesome.
So what you're saying is you basically had to do a drum roll in order to defeat the boss.
Well, it's also how you would end the level as well. Like there'd be like a barrel of bananas that you would just like beat the crap out of. Just go on the bongos. Again, I can imagine it would probably be, actually using the bongos on the GameCube, you'd be probably fed up of it by this point. But surprisingly, the Wii version used it sparingly.
Yeah, interesting.
I'd like to point out the detail. That's another thing I really like about all of Luke's games across
Oh,
your whole lifetime. It's just your attention to detail and everything. Everything not only exists for a reason, but everything minor also exists for a reason there.
yeah.
Like I was just saying about the detail about the enemies disappearing, easily could have been like, well, whatever, just, the enemy doesn't hurt them and they can just defeat the enemy when they're done their dialogue. But no, you made it like, well, let's not do that. I have to think about what the player is going to do when it comes to this. And also just details in the story, details in the sprite work. I gotta say, I do love the animations. Like, nothing is ever static. With almost every single sprite in this game, there's some sort of motion. Even when it's an object that doesn't require motion, there's always some sort of motion to it. These are things that you could easily not have to do, but you did anyways.
And here I was thinking I didn't have enough animation.
I mean, you look at my games, I am like, animation? What's that? Like Sparky, leg, move. Face, static.
I guess what you're talking about is things like those amber cubes shining and stuff.
Yeah. Well, look at this guy's eye is like, the rock with the eye. His eye is just kind of going big, small, big, small, big, small.
It doesn't have to move. It doesn't have to have more than one frame, and you did it because that's just how you do things.
Yeah.
Oh.
I love it.
Oh. Thank you.
You're welcome. And it also has to do with the style that you're also looking for too, or that you have. So I mean, Sam, like you were saying, my game doesn't have that much animation, but like, does it need to? You very much stylized Sparky, for instance, like a Sega Genesis game.
Yes.
And a lot of those games didn't have much for animation because there was limitations to how many frames you could have and how much memory was available on the cartridge. So it's great to see that too, That's, I guess my point is, these things are done with the purpose of how they were done for. And as long as you get the message across of the gameplay being fun and it being nice to look at, it's a great game. It's a great experience. And the story, we can't talk about spoilers, but just I love how the story progresses and the turns that happen and the way that it goes.
Thanks. And I like how players can, in a sense, create their own story arcs. Because, like, in the first level, Master Tyne says something like, please don't jump into the spinning energy blades this time. And I'd like to think that's a habit of Lillian's. And as we can see from Sam's gameplay, she keeps doing it.
Yeah, on the drawers there, yeah. But the dresser, that's what it's called, isn't it?
It was intended to be a cutlery drawer, but
right.
It kind of does look like a dresser.
Cutlery goes in a drawer.
Oh, I remember when I made that mistake on social media there. Do you remember that?
What, the dresser? Oh, I remember now.
Dresser. Yeah. I just picture somebody, Lillian gets out of bed and goes and sits at her dresser, and just gets out a spork, starts combing her hair.
A dingle hopper.
There are sporks in her hair, so.
I'm sorry, a dingle hopper. Nice, excellent, good work. Did they say that in the live action remake? I didn't like the live action remake, sadly.
I never saw the live action remake. Yeah, I've not watched a movie in so long.
I remember I was watching it with my wife, and we were like, "What the heck is this?" It kind of sucked, and they got to the point where they're singing Under the Sea, and there's hundreds, like thousands of like weird like starfish and sea all spinning around her and all this choreographed dance. And I was like, it's so like more is more. And yet it means this just seems to amount to nothing, and it just seems dull somehow. And then we actually fired up the original Little Mermaid and watched the song there, and I was like, I feel like it seems so much livelier, but I'm sure there were less fish on screen. I watched it, and in that part, it's like there's four there are 4 fish on screen dancing right now, and it feels like a huge party compared to the new movie, which has hundreds. And it's interesting. It's the little details, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the personality that counts.
My daughter wants me to watch that movie. Don't know if I'll get around to it.
The live action?
Yeah.
You know what? They got to the end, and it was getting towards the end, and I said my favorite part in The Little Mermaid is when Ursula becomes effectively the Kraken at the end. She becomes giant and all of that, and trying to sink the ship and everything. She's got the trident and all that, and I was like, oh man, this will be good, right? And I was like, wait, no. And I made a prediction. I said to my wife, I'll bet either you won't see it, either she won't go giant or she will, but you'll barely be able to see it because she will be shrouded in like dust. You know the dust clouds they always put in front of CG monsters for some reason? Like they're trying to hide the CG or something. And there's nothing wrong with CG. CG's great. Practical effects are great. CG's great. It doesn't have to look perfect, but they just have this weird thing now where they hide everything. And it happens in the middle of this Disney movie about mermaids. They hide giant Ursula behind just mist and dust and clouds and stuff. Why?
Oh,
I was absolutely right. I was like, I called it.
I've watched enough Corridor Digital to make a theory that some of the CG just doesn't mix well with real life elements, so they try to turn down the amount of lighting, or in this case, put a crap load.
Oh yeah, they always put it in the dark.
Clouds in front of it. Exactly, so it looks better.
It's
if
a weird
light
thing.
Up
I don't think effects need to be perfect, right? Like, I've noticed this weird thing. If you got practical effects and they don't quite look right, people are still like, "Oh, cool effect." But if you got CG and it doesn't quite look right, everybody gets like, "Whoa, cringe!" Or CG. I'm like, what? Why does CG have to be? I don't mind imperfect CG. A little bit stylized is fine with me,
Yeah, I'm with you there, but that's not everyone.
Yeah.
Also, love the cat bots, is what I'm going to call them.
Now you can't. It's not these guys, but the actual cats that are running around. You can actually pet them, can you? Oh no, the dog.
Yeah, those are much later in the game. Since at this point, I haven't actually programmed the whole being able to pet cats and dogs thing.
You hear that, Threads? You can pet the dog.
Yeah,
Threads. I'm not saying Twitter anymore.
Luke, did you implement that after we had discovered there was a you can pet the dog account on Twitter?
I honestly don't remember, but I know at some point. Hold on, what did I remember? Oh, sorry about that. My throat was a bit. I don't normally do this much talking in real life.
Sorry. We'll wind down soon, and I'll come back and.
No, it's cool. I'm enjoying
more
this.
of the game as I play through it, but yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, but I think I'll discuss that if we get to that part. Probably won't tonight. Cool. Definitely won't tonight, but. Well, yeah, but there's a lot to say about the dog in this game, and how the dog petting came around the same time I needed something else in the story. So I just figured I was thinking of this one part in the story, and then at the same time I was thinking about I want to have dogs I can pet. So at the same time I combined the story element with a pettable dog. So you'll see what I mean.
There's a section, without spoiling, there's a section where things get pretty intense. And then Master Tynes insists that Lillian takes a break and you get to do a nice hotel and spa level.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff. What have we got here?
Yeah, and that also leads to the cat level.
Yes.
There's a cat level.
Just there's everything. There's everything. Play the game. Please buy the game. Not buy it. You don't even need to buy it. Please download the game. It's free.
Yeah.
You're so used to saying that.
It's too good to be true.
No, it's not too good to be true. It is true.
It's just straight up true.
Dang.
And that's the thing about this game. You have to suspend all disbelief about pretty much everything that you expect. Which, I mean, the game already makes fun of a number of things that wouldn't make logical sense in real life. But even beyond that, you just have everything that happens in this game. It's so much more fun if you're just like, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah. Well, you know,
I mean, it's a game about a floating eyeball spork. It has to be at least somewhat self-aware.
True.
you know, I think that this, I could be completely wrong, but a slight prediction and something that's really cool. Since it's free, I think a lot of kids will get to play this. Because people who don't have credit cards, you know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's not the money that is the obstacle; it's just being able to pay, right? Actually having a credit card, or permission to use a credit card.
Yeah.
I think that this will speak to kids, you know, in a lot of ways, and I hope to see maybe some young streamers play it and stuff because
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was writing the dialogue, I made it a point to be like pretty much simple and direct, but at the same time not to talk down to the player ever.
Good call.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Thank you.
And I mean, Daisy likes playing this game. She's on a trip right now, but when she comes back, be like, hey, oh, actually, I told her on a video call, I said, hey, you know that game that Luke was making? I said, oh, it's released, and her eyes like go wide open, her mouth goes open. She's like, oh, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's out. And she's like, okay, well, can I play it when I get back? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, wait, I can't, because it's going to be late when I get back. And I'm like, that's fine. You can wait. You don't have to play it right away.
There's a really nice comment. NetNerdy says, it'd be the new generation's inspiration someday.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, funny thing is, a lot of people who are seeing this now who actually grew up with my old fan games, and they've been pointing that out, and there's like, wow, I grew up with Psycho Waluigi, and I mean, like, I know I'm not always kind to my fan games, but that is honestly pretty heartwarming.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people love Psycho Waluigi, and this is effectively Psycho Waluigi 2, right? Like, I don't mean that. Much. I really don't mean that in a negative way. Here we go. This is Nailil. How do you pronounce that?
I say Nailil, but say it however you want, honestly.
Nailil, yeah.
Nailil.
Lillian's sister, sort of evil sister. She is probably my favorite character.
Oh.
Hey, nice laugh. You're getting pretty good at this whole evil twin thing. Thank you, sis. See, my law school offers a maniacal laughter course as an elective, and I've been... Wait a minute, there's nothing good about me, for I am darkness incarnate. Sorry, I'm trying not to wake my my wife and kid up. Cool.
Aww.
Care to explain why you brought those monsters into the basement, oh mistress of evil? I love her evil twin. So Naila is the evil twin, but Lillian is very supportive of that, and I like that so much.
Their relationship is fantastic.
Thank you.
With my boundless hordes of monster minions, I'll conquer the world. Geozek will be all mine. Awesome. I'm sure you'll make a great ruler. Really? Oh, Lillian, you have no idea how much your encouragement means to... I mean, why, of course, or something to that effect. It's too bad you, my sister, are an obstacle. It truly pains me to do this, but prepare to be crushed. Sure, I suppose I could spend a moment entertaining your crazy fantasy. How kind of you. Now, prepare to meet your doom. So good. A boss battle is effectively you roughhousing with your sister.
Oh, that's a good way of thinking about it. I didn't put that together.
Now
I love it even more.
So cool. Ooh.
Are you intentionally missing that icon?
Sorry?
The icon to the left.
Oh, I'm not paying attention. Where is it? Oh, I think
Never mind, you got it.
I think.
Sorry, yeah. I keep forgetting I'm a little delayed.
Yeah, in the stream. We have temporal distortion going on here.
That's it. Don't lose.
Oh no.
You don't want to
I'm
lose
not paying
your sister.
attention. Hold up. I think we've got some mouthwash. There we go. Is this one of the ones like, can you lose this fight, or is it does it do the thing where it's like you lose and the game continues anyway?
Oh, sorry, what was that? Yeah, I mean, this is like a regular boss fight. There are no real
so
gimmicks
if you
lose.
Do you,
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there is one boss fight you pretty much have to lose. I'll say that right now. But other than that, assume you have to win.
You can catch the ones that she fires at you.
Yeah.
What, you mean just kidnap her psychic vessel? It's so rude.
Nah. Well, you can kidnap her after
we go.
the defeat. It's a little Easter egg.
Okay.
Yeah. See?
I had no idea.
Yeah, that was awesome. So you see the light, but you're seriously not going to stop me? Fool, you would practically hand this world over to me. I am not to be taken lightly, worm. Neither is this whole distortion thing. Yeesh, kind of stands in the way of your glorious plans, just saying. So feel free to use me to deal with that obstacle or whatever. Who knows, you could even shape me into your unwitting pawn, your minion of darkness. Oh my gosh, Lillian, you are the best sister I could ever ask for. But I hope you're prepared for such an undertaking. You better not fail me, worm, or else. This is why I'm training, sis. I know we don't see each other often because of it, but it's all to help you create a better world. And believe me, I miss seeing you too. It'll be worth it in the end. It's so wholesome. Yes, yes. Oh, we'll bow to our whims. Beautiful. But yeah, this is one of the few games where I just love to read dialogue, right? Like, it's often a thing that I'm skipping through in games, but this one sort of captures your imagination, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I have a mixed feeling about dialogue in games myself, believe it or not. Like, usually most of the time I just want to get to the gameplay itself, and I don't really end up caring about the dialogue until later, you know?
Yeah.
Once I've gotten time to know the characters and so on.
Yeah, same. But again, maybe that's why it reminds me of Paper Mario, because in Paper Mario I quite happily sit and read. It's like it's part of the core experience of the game. You know?
Yeah.
I know that I had, with Sparky, with Sparky, I just got a lot of complaints about dialogue. And it's great dialogue, right? John is a great writer, but I don't have that... you have this sort of charm to your dialogue and this sort of stream of consciousness that you have that makes you want to read it. And Sparky is funny, John's funny and clever, but it's not like I'd rather read it than play. But it's not in the case of this game. It's like you enjoy reading the dialogue as much as you enjoy playing the game. And I think Sparky still has that thing where it's like the dialogue is a break from the game, right? Like it's really hard to describe, but it's like reading this is a core part of the experience of PSYCUTLERY in a way that it often isn't in games. It doesn't break up the game or get in the way of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm glad that it worked out, because I really did try to, not make it so monotonous. Because, so in the story-heavy levels, you just get a little bit of dialogue, go back to the gameplay, get a little bit of dialogue, go back to the gameplay, and every single time I'd make sure that the gameplay to story ratio, that the gameplay would far, I'm sorry, I'm just
no, I know what you mean. But you create a sort of pacing with it as well, right? Like there are levels where you use a lot of dialogue to slow things down intentionally, right? There'll be a level where there's a lot of dialogue here to create a slower feel, and then there'll be levels where there's almost no dialogue because the game, the story and the pacing of the game has sped up at that point. Like I know that Celeste, one that I recommended to you that I'm a big fan of, it uses the actual level design to speed up or slow down how you feel. And I've noticed that PSYCUTLERY kind of does this with the story. There are parts where there's just a lot of talking to slow you down and chill you out, and the tone of the game and the level design all kind of comes together in that way, and it's just very, very well done.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Agreed.
I'm so pleased that this is out. Seriously, well done, Luke. To you.
Thank you.
I love Barry Boss.
Yeah, great boss. Barry Boss. I have achieved absolute transcendence. Okay, cool. That's cool. Nice to meet you, Barry Boss. You seem like a pretty fun guy. I was going to say, the dialogue between Lillian and Nalo. Have you guys seen the Super Mario Bros. Movie? I know you have, John. Luke, have you seen the Super Mario Bros.
Not
movie?
yet, no.
So, there's a line in that, if you don't mind me telling you. My favorite line in the movie is such a basic thing that Luigi says. But Bowser is effectively torturing Luigi to try and find out where Mario is because he's captured him. And he's asking him about his brother. You know, he's like, "Oh, he's my brother, and he's the best guy in the world," and all that. And they have such a great relationship in the movie. And Bowser wants Peach, you know, and he's worried that Peach is going to go with Mario. And Bowser's asking him questions like, you know, could he defeat me, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, "Do princesses find him attractive?" And Luigi says, "They do if they have good taste." And I just love so much how much he worships his brother in that movie. And for some reason, the Nail dialogue reminded me of that moment.
Yeah, there is indeed a little bit of sibling worship, a little bit of sibling resentment. It's complicated, but
Right, you know, siblings.
yeah, I mean it's jealousy, but at the same time, it's very much love.
And
yeah, absolutely.
That's all you can expect with siblings.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oops. Oh, that did hit. Excellent.
This?
Forgive me, hitbox.
Luke, you remember how many times it took for me to actually get a proper boss song?
Oh yeah.
Oh, do tell.
Jeez. I have. Let me just, while you're flailing around there, let me look into my drive and let me look in my projects folder here for PSYCUTLERY. I got boss 1, boss try 1, boss try 2. Those are just the project file. Never mind the actual work in progress renders.
Sorry, it's the sunglasses has just happened.
Oh no, the sunglasses.
Oh yeah, the sunglasses.
Sorry, I'd forgotten about this. Sorry, carry on, John.
Hold on, because I love dialogue.
It says, "Oh, if I hadn't transcended the need for mirrors, I could just look at myself all day. Kind of regret transcending mirrors now that I think about it. But no matter, now let the spectacular blinding image of my being burn itself into your gaze, for it will be the last sight you'll ever see." Sorry, carry on.
I love it.
So good.
But yeah,
I'm gonna
what was
die.
What was that like? I think. Well, let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 different files of trying to get one single boss song working. Like, out of all the project files I have for this game, I have maybe at most 3 of one that I attempted to get to work.
Ow.
This one cost me 5 attempts before I finally got something that actually worked.
It was worth it.
Yeah, that's one thing I will say is I'm glad that you gave a lot of feedback on the music, and you're like, "Well, let's do this," and have you tried this? You know, it was good for improving myself, but also to work with. You know, you have a visual idea. Now you want an audio idea of what to do, right?
Yeah.
And you gave great feedback for that, so appreciate
I'm glad.
Something just saved me, which... Oh, no, I died. As I was saying that. So something just saved me, which we sort of worked on, which I remember working on, which was the adaptive difficulty.
Yeah.
Because it was the idea that the possibility, the probability of receiving a health pickup when you defeat an enemy increases as you're getting closer to dying, which I still think is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you showed me that.
But if I remember
that
right,
is
it's
so much
something
the
like
game.
every certain number of enemies, right? So it's not random, but it's like every 10th enemy or something, and then the lower your health gets, the smaller that number gets.
Yes.
Which is great, because then nobody finds the game too hard or too easy. But the challenge level remains.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you don't lose sight of that challenge, because oftentimes there's been many times I've played, and I've played it for such a long time. There'll still be times where I'm like, oh crap, I'm about to die. Like, I am just about to get hit, and all of a sudden the toothpaste shows up, and I'm like, thank God.
Yeah. I remember I sort of discovered this from one of the Resident Evil games. I was playing it, and I noticed how often I was defeating a boss when I was on my last few bullets, my tiny health, etc. And I was like, it's happening quite often, but the best boss battles, right? Hold on. For you see, I've reached the highest peak of evolution several times over and back again, past of infinity. I've evolved to become so spectacular, so awe-inspiring. Excuse me. That this world is no longer has what it takes to contain something so simply amazing as myself. None of you mortals will ever have what it takes to truly comprehend the unending scope of my divine existence. Later, loser.
I love hearing this read aloud. I really do.
So, in other words, he's transcended the need to exist, I guess. It's so good. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the dynamic difficulty with Resident Evil. Yeah, so it's like when you have that moment where you were on your last couple of bullets, your last little inch of health, and you just defeat the boss. It's an awesome experience, right? It's an amazing feeling. And I
Yeah.
noticed it happened a lot in Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, and possibly I think in parts of Resident Evil 4. And I realized that I'm going to let the diary read out for people reading. Hi, Tina. Tina's back. And I noticed that, it feels great when that happens in a boss battle. And I think, see, in Resident Evil games, there's no boss health bar. You can't see the boss's health. And I think that those games actually, they actually pay attention to your health and your ammo levels. And once your health and your ammo get low, I think it actually drops, either makes the boss weaker or gives you a massive buff. I think that there's a dynamic difficulty going on that makes sure that everybody has the most possible fun. And
That's good.
I actually think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
that's definitely what PSYCUTLERY achieved. Again,
Yeah.
so many times where it's like I'm on my last heart of health and I'm worried. Like there is a real risk of losing the progress. Also, which I wanted to say, it's fantastic that when it comes to boss fights, you don't start all the way from the beginning of the boss fight, you know?
Yeah, there's boss checkpoints, so which I wish more games would do.
One of my favorite things, because I died on the final boss and I didn't really have, I wanted to go and get some refills for, health refills and items and stuff. And I didn't realize you could actually, in PSYCUTLERY, you can actually leave the final boss. You can pause it, exit the level, go to a different level, go and grab what you need, come back and resume the boss from the checkpoint. Which, oh my god, that is so good. Like, why is that not a thing? That is fantastic.
Yeah, I often say Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is an almost near perfect game, except for the boss fights, because they go on for so long without any checkpoints. I think if they added checkpoints, that game would have been pretty much perfect.
I completely agree, right? Because think about those boss fights. They're not overly hard, but they're hard. I died on them a few times, but they take so long. You're often just waiting and dodging. I don't know why I'm just walking through the empty gallery. You're just kind of watching and waiting. There's the seal that's sliding. You jump over it and it slides left. You jump out and you wait for your chance to do the hit. And if you die, you just start over again. And it's waiting and waiting and waiting to the next phase. And it's like, you know what? No.
Yeah.
Can I actually, Sam, if you can hold on for a second, can I take this moment, because I wanted to talk about it. I had it on the trailer, but Luke made the right choice in saying let's not include it. But I want to talk about the menu and the unlockables in this game, because as much as there's so much content in the gameplay and the levels, there's so much content beyond that too. So these doodle galleries, what Sam just walked by, are when you get all of the eye coins in each level, there's an alternate level, and you complete that, and you get a golden spork above the level, and you unlock a doodle. And so not only is there a doodle for every single level in this game, so that's 50 pieces of artwork that Luke has done themselves, but also that there's a discussion for every single doodle as well. So it can be between any characters, and they're just fun little discussions. It's like you just jam-pack so much into this. Talking about the menu, where you have options, so you can accessibility options, the screen shake reduction, and being able to change, the sound and sound effect volume and the music volume. Again, this seems pretty basic, but there are a lot of games that don't even look into that as an option, right? Story scenes, being able to choose if you want them to repeat, if you only want to see it once. Um, Fantastic. So much thinking about all different types of players. Also, just wanted to give a brief mention, just in case there's anyone that watches this stream either now or maybe views it later on, um, that may be into speedrunning. And speedrunning this game, there's such a there's great methods for that too. There's a mode that I won't talk about right now, but there's a mode for speedrunning. But even if you don't want to do that mode, the fact that you can have the story scene skip is fantastic, So just wanted to say, like, I love all these options that were given as well. That's again detail and level of polish that
And these two here in
you don't get
particular,
with a lot of games.
the flashing effects and screen shake options. These are good. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Indie Gamer Chick on Twitter, and she's one of the only reasons I still check that god awful website. and like, I learned a lot from her and from what's the guy's name? Ian something. I'm sorry, I forget, but about accessibility in games, and this is a big one that a lot of people hugely appreciate, just having the option to just turn off your flashing and screen shake. But what I also like is that you've got normal, you've also got minimal. So you've got off, normal, and minimal, which means it's like, hey, I still want the effects, but just tone them down a little to make it easier for my eyes. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Where's the other levels around here? What's this one? Oh yeah, the crash landing site. I'll go ahead and say it. Retro Studio sucks at boss fights, says Spoonshiro. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
They're just kind of really what's the word I'm looking for? You just kind of go through the motions, it's like, yes, jump when he does this, duck when he does that, wait for him to do this, stand here to avoid that, then you get your hit. And repeat, but this time there are 2 things to dodge. Oh, and now there are 3. It's like, oh, can I just do another level, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I personally prefer bosses that you are constantly fighting, rather than just, waiting through phases.
Yeah, me too. I'm not a big phase guy. Well, there's a bit in Angry Video Game Nerd too where we take the piss out of that, as a British person like me would say.
Oh yeah.
Which was Sir Werepire, which is the boss that comes as a vampire, becomes a werewolf in the full moon after he reaches a certain health. Then he disappears and comes back in his suit of armor. Then he dies and comes back as a ghost. And then he comes back as a zombie, but you don't have to fight the zombie because the nerd just says, fuck it, and gives up and leaves. And then the zombie gives up, and so the nerd just pops back on screen and grabs the reward.
Yeah.
There are a number of times in that game where I was just so surprised what's happening.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm good at, right? The AVGN games. I think that James's sort of sense of humor and my my odd brain kind of go well together for those games. I think just some of the ideas I had for sometimes that's the thing in AVGN, right? Sometimes it's like not what would be the best gameplay, but what would be the funniest gameplay. Like that boss fight, it's fine, but it's funny. There's a whole section that you don't even have to do because the character goes, fuck it, I'm going.
Yeah, and the death blocks, they're honestly hilarious because they're seriously a satirical commentary on unfair game design.
Thank you for understanding that. A lot of people did not. I really did overuse them in the original release, though, so it was good to go back for deluxe and cut down on them. I'll tell you something now, which I don't think many people know of, and Chad at Screw Attack will corroborate this. But in AVGN 2, I very nearly added game over blocks. So it's like super death blocks, which even if you had 3 lives, if you touched there were only very few of them, but if you touched them, you would get the game over screen.
That's just insulting the player at that point.
I know, right? Yeah, that's but that was the thing, right? In AVGN, it wasn't necessarily what would be the best thing, but it'd be what would be the funniest thing, and that was what we went for with that. And I'm hoping to, continue if we ever do AVGN 3, or there's a game that me and John Locke have been kind of wanting to make for ever since high school, which is called Rod the Red, and that's a game that's very much in the same vein of whatever's funnier, rather than there's a boss fight where he had the idea for a boss fight which does a big, opening sequence and a cutscene showing the boss like and all that, and then when it goes into the gameplay it's tiny and you just step on it, stuff like that. Anyway, about your game. I can't get through there yet. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, enough about my my silly games.
Silly, you say?
They're not silly.
Well, they are.
When they
That's
are
kind
silly,
of the point.
when they are silly, it's silly in a good way, like my game.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. That's something that I've talked with my wife about a lot, is that I see great value in silly. And there are times when I get mad that something isn't silly enough. Right?
Yeah.
Like look, this game is so funny and silly. And you look at, again, I often compare it to Undertale, which is, again, also quite silly. It's beautiful, but it's also quite silly. And you get things like, say, Celeste, which I also love, but it takes itself a lot more seriously. And it's emotional and all that. And I'm like, do you know what? Like, yeah, sure. You might want to go and cry to a sad movie, a sad song, or whatever, if you're going through stuff. But you know what? Nothing makes me feel better than laughing.
Yeah.
I think that laughing gets me through anything. And not laughing at... I don't need a scathing political satire when I'm feeling down. When I'm feeling down,
agreed.
I want a funny girl in a frog suit with a flying spork. Like, I think that it's not, journalists and that don't respect it enough. And by very definition, silly is not to be taken seriously. But I think it's so valuable, right?
Agreed.
It's a strange comparison, but in around 2017, they did a movie version of Power Rangers, and it's and it's a great movie. Don't get me wrong, it's excellent, but it is not silly enough. And I was cross. I was angry that it wasn't more silly than it was. So, ironically, I take silliness seriously.
Power Rangers is the incarnate of serious silliness.
Yeah, right, yeah. And again,
like even in the 90s, they knew they were being silly.
Yeah, tokusatsu, man. Japanese crazy monster footage. But hold on, am I in the wrong? No, I'm not in the wrong place. I remember this bit. But yeah, like the silliness of this game is, again, it's like a beautiful silliness, right? It's like, man, it just transcends.
It takes moments where it's serious to be serious, but it doesn't overstay its welcome, and gets right back to being silly, and that's great. So you have those moments where you're like, here's the serious part of the story and I'm engaged and involved, but then let's wrap right back to I don't know, I can't think of something silly right now.
Well, I'm glad it works for you, because again, this is
jokes, let's say that.
Yeah, because this is a game about a floating eyeball spork. If it takes itself too seriously, it's not doing its job.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said about getting a concept like that and playing it completely straight-faced as well. But even that is silly. That's the thing. You guys ever heard of Auntie Donna, the Australian comedy troupe?
No.
Sorry, excuse me, I'm gassy from that beer. Auntie Donna, they you should look them up on YouTube. They're quite funny. It's just this Australian comedy troupe, and they're very just silly and random and odd, and to some people maybe obnoxious. But they have a character in their podcast called Silly Boy, who shows up every now and then. He's the most hated character they have, but they bring it up to troll people, and he's Swilly Boy. I'm Swilly Boy. Talks like this, and yeah, he has the ability to spot when something is so swilly. And I don't even know, I can't remember what my point was, but it's just, sometimes it's like, you gotta be silly, right? I think being silly makes people happier than anything else.
Yep, I agree.
Actually, this is the first song that was ever made for that I made for PSYCUTLERY.
Ah. Yeah, this song,
I want to take a second.
It very much establishes a style, doesn't it?
Which one do you think was the first?
The one that played on the tutorial level. I know you did a demo of that, like, but then you derived a few different songs out of that demo.
Oh, okay. You know what? Let me just go by date created. Oh no! Why do they all say 2020? That's not right. All right, date
Date your
modified.
computer last updated.
Yeah, never mind. Couldn't say. Actually, I guess I'd have to look into the project itself. I can find out that way, but I'm not worried about it right now. Question, actually, Sam. Which controller are you using right now?
This is an Xbox Series X or Xbox Series controller.
Okay, gotcha.
I love the thing. I think I mean, look, I like the PS5 controller a lot as well, but this thing is like, oh, they have just mastered controllers.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, for platformers, like, I've been playing PSYCUTLEry and all the retro games with the D-pad.
Yeah, same. This is, you know, I know a lot of people in the US who don't agree with me on this. And maybe it's because Sega were big in the UK where Nintendo were in the US, but a circle D-pad, I mean, with a good rocker in it, and listen to the clicks on that. I think it's micro switches, maybe. I'm not sure, but it's the best D-pad in probably 20 years. It's the best D-pad since they used to make D-pads as default. It's the best D-pad since the analog stick was invented.
Yeah,
I got you.
Agreed. Like, that clickiness, it lets you know I've hit this button. You know.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's interesting because Xbox until now had terrible D-pads, but this thing is, I don't know. Phil Spencer's Xbox is very different to Don Matrick's Xbox was, but the guy knows, he knows how to make an arcadey controller. I mean, I don't think Phil Spencer designed the Xbox controller, but my point is the people that he appointed to design the controllers know an arcadey D-pad.
That is true. I will agree with that.
That's me right. I love my games arcadey, and platformy arcadey. Just don't get me wrong. I love PlayStation, but the cinematic thing. Their controllers, their hardware, pretty much everything they do is very much based around this sort of cinematic kind of approach to games, and that's cool. But that's not my bag.
That reminds me, my dad he was a pilot, not anymore. So we were playing The Crew 2 and enjoying that, playing that multiplayer. But it's very arcadey physics, right?
My goodness, yeah.
Whatever. And so I'm doing loop-de-loops around him and having so much fun. And then he's like, "All right, you know what we got to play next? Microsoft Flight Simulator." And I'm like, "Uh-oh." I'm at my match. You're gonna be in the sky and you're gonna be going, and I haven't even taken off yet because I don't know how to turn on the thing.
You mentioned The Crew 2. Have you played The Crew Motorfest?
No, I haven't yet.
It's so good.
Reason to.
It's so good. It's like it's like part The Crew, part Forza Horizon, and what a beautiful sentence that is. I love it so much. It's so good.
I got to give it a try sometime.
So the arcade is... Sorry, go ahead.
For now, I'm just gonna continue trying to 100% PSYCUTLEry.
Hell yeah! I know the arcadiest racer I think in the last 10 years would be Cruisin' Blast on the Switch. I recommend that.
Every time I see footage of that, I go, how does this game exist? Like, not a bad way, like a good way. Like,
it's so much fun. You can unlock a hammerhead shark that you used. You're racing against cars, but you're just racing along the road as a hammerhead shark, and you can mod it and add like rims and neon lights to it.
Beautiful.
It's the first thing I think of when I see a hammerhead shark. I wonder if it has RGB.
Yeah, I highly recommend Cruisin' Blast if you like your racers arcadey.
Absolutely.
Speaking of great games, today you'll be digging deep into the planet's crust. If you find anything nice down there, do let me know. Master, why so glum all of a sudden? Oh yeah, I think we're at a really good bit, aren't we? Not that everything else in this game isn't really good, but you know what I mean. Many terrible things lurk within our planet, but there must surely be some nice things too. Let's just say you have as much to teach me as I have to teach you. Huh? Well, what are you just standing around for? Are you waiting for me to tell a funny joke? You must learn that there isn't always a pile of funnies to be dug up from any and every situation. Against what I was just saying about silliness. Not even from a lesson called A Spoonful of Sand. In that case, you really should have thought of an edgier title, like, say, Despair in the Dirt. See, how great is that, right? Your lead character is coming up with an alternative name for the level.
Yeah, the relationships between all the characters, or at least the main characters that have constant dialogue between them, is so fantastic.
I think that
it's good writing, man.
Yeah, it really is, Luke. I think that I was saying about how I predict that a lot of kids will get to play this because it's free, right? Because they don't have access to credit cards, etc. And being that A, it's free, and B, it has a surplus of content, right? All the unlockable, the 100 levels, all the stuff that John was talking about. I think kids will play it a lot. Like, it will become, some people, this will become their game,
Wow. Never thought of that.
Yeah. I mean, some people, look, it's free and it's got a ton of content. I think it'll be some people's game, and there'll be people who will grow up to become game designers and will remember PSYCUTLERY. That's what I hope.
Oh my gosh.
I just got myself excited. The last time that Daisy played this game, she was much younger. She can read now. She's going to be able to read the dialogue now. Oh, I'm so happy for that.
Oh, man.
Look, I'm not just saying this because I've had a whiskey and a beer, but this is a good day. This game is available now. I'm really happy and I'm really proud of you, Luke.
Thank you.
As am I. It's been such a long time. I've been waiting a while, but it's all been worth it. I could wait another 5 years if I had to.
Yeah.
To wait for this game to come out, and I still would. Have fun, Sam.
It's a good level.
The
Super Mario Bros. 2 vibes.
Yep.
Remember that level where you're digging downwards? Sorry, John, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say, when I played the build that first had this level, I thought you might have had an Easter egg or something into the sand. So I got rid of every single block. It took like 10 minutes going through the whole room, row by row.
Dude, not even I have done that.
I'm so disappointed in myself.
I think it's pretty cool that people actually go through all those lengths to see if there is anything like that.
Yeah, but can you imagine, right? There'll be people who will be like, game theory about this, like, is there this? Can you find this? And the crazy thing is, there's so much in this game. There is stuff you can find.
Yeah, how do you know, right?
I say, speaking of fandom and knowing when you've made it, I remember Sparky didn't perform as well as I'd hoped, but I feel sort of relieved that there's been thirsty fan art of Sparky started showing up.
Oh yeah.
How you know when you've made it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm happy now. I don't even care that it didn't make its budget back. Somebody added legs to Sparky and made him thick.
Don't call him spectacular for never mind.
The spunktacular Sparky. Actually, does that joke work if you're not British?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If you're American, that means he's got great courage.
That's it. Don't question it.
Yeah, that's a weird one, right? If you're British and you're watching like some American film, they go, "You got spunk, kid," and I should bloody well hope not.
Yeah, luckily most people know the alternative meaning to that word.
Yeah. It's been interesting, actually, in the recent 10 years or so. The most recent, the last 10 years or so. I've forgotten how to speak English now. How much like British slang has made it into the US vernacular, I think, over the internet and stuff, because it was always the other way around, right? Like US slang would proliferate around the world because of the TV.
Yeah, most of my early internet friends, including Sam, were all British, so I naturally picked up like a few British terms along with, the spellings for like color and so on. Yeah, because like for a while people were wondering if I was British due to the way I was spelling certain words,
Well, yeah, people often say to me like, "Oh, you guys add a U. You guys add U's to it." It's like, no, you guys took them out. It was like, oh, that's too many letters for me, man. It's just,
If people look at me and I just have to be like, it's how it works.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you come from that country that doesn't take itself seriously. Oh, nice placement of that bubble. That rabbits, maybe you have the name of that enemy, just jump right into it.
I absolutely love here that the windows here have like diamond shapes in them, like a pattern, and behind that is a parallax layer of damn enemies. There's a parallax layer of like diamond shaped tiles. Like in formations with another parallax layer behind that, and that layer is kind of fading in and out depending on your Y position. There's so much going on here that a lot of people just swim straight past, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I went all out with the diamonds here.
Shine bright like a diamond. Sorry.
Gosh, I love this game.
Yeah, it's crazy. Once you get out here, it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, and it's like, look, it's a squid. Squids shoot ink, but this squid is a actual pot of ink.
Yup.
Oh, sing a song.
Pot of ink that went rogue.
Yeah.
Bit of a running gag in my whole monster database is the whole thing about random objects going rogue. So, so we have an ink pot, a train furnace, and Lord knows what else.
Did you guys ever see a British show called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place?
No.
So it's just assume we haven't had this.
So it's like an intentionally bad show. So it's like it's like the premise is it's a show that was cancelled in the late 80s, which is like a Stephen King style guy making his own horror series. As my dark place, Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, and it's awful. The show, and so they've made on purpose this intentionally awful show, and cutting between interview footage of these characters, Garth Marenghi, the fictional author of this show, being all pretentious about it. It's very funny. There's an episode of that where so the idea is the writers are idiots, and so there's a woman character in there who it's intentionally it's like kind of sexist because the writers are, and there's jokes about that, so like there's a woman character who gets ends up getting like telekinetic abilities when menstruating. And there's just an episode of that with just all the inanimate objects coming to life. And it's supposed to be like a Stephen King-esque horror series. We just got like a guy running, being chased by a stapler and stuff, and Matt Berry being chased by a filing cabinet. He's yelling "filing cabinet" as he runs.
Sounds beautiful.
It's so good. It's one of those things where you see like comedians like Tommy Cooper, and they're playing the piano really badly, and it's like they have to be really good at that to do it that badly. And that's like I found that about Matthew Holness and at Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. It's like you have to be such a good actor to act that badly. Jerky says, Sorry, go ahead.
Just so you have to know you have to be a good actor to know how to be a bad actor, right?
Yeah, you have to be a bad actor specifically the way we want you to. Jerky says, I grew up with Cartoon Network and then spent most of my adolescence on Screw Attack. So my accent and vocabulary has so much American influence in it. And I know what you mean, man. Like, I'm lucky enough that when I talk with people in the US, because I'm from Gloucestershire, we know how to use the letter R. And so Americans understand me a little easier than a lot of British people. So when I go out to Texas, especially, they're like, "Oh, your accent is soft. Now I can understand you better." It's just because, unlike the rest of Britain, I actually use the letter R. I actually say it. But also, yeah, I have that where I picked up a lot of Americanisms, and that makes it a little easier to talk with people at work and stuff. But also, it can annoy some British people at home, right? Like it's a thing, right? Some particularly older British people, they get quite annoyed about any Americanisms and stuff. But it's like, there are some words that's like, we don't have a word for y'all. And y'all is a great word.
It's not that great.
Well,
hey Sam, sorry to cut you off here, but I actually do have an appointment in 9 minutes here.
Oh, cool.
That I got to attend. So,
all right. Well, thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Thank you for inviting me. It was great to be on the stream here, Sam. Good to see you play a phenomenal game. And thank you, Luke, for being on the stream and talking with me as well. Great to hear your voice.
And thank you for your awesome music.
Yeah, thank you for everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
For promoting this, for everything.
It's been a fantastic journey. I'm so glad I had the opportunity to join in on it, and to many more prospects down the road. I will always be there and help everywhere I can.
Yeah, I'd love to have you.
Awesome.
Well,
thank you so much, you guys.
I may take this opportunity to wrap the stream up, actually, because after this level anyway, because the beer has made me very much need the bathroom. But I'll let you go. Yeah, I'll let you go, John, and
awesome.
I'll talk with you, Luke, until I finish this level, and I'll wrap the stream up for the night.
Perfect.
Thank you, John.
All right, thanks, you guys.
I hope your appointment goes well, whatever it is. Give my love to Daisy and your family.
Will do, definitely. All right, take care, you guys.
I'm taking a risk here. Oh no, I'm gonna lose a lot of health doing this. I should have really not done it this way.
Oh yeah, the level
cheating.
is called bouncing on boulders, which is the hint of bounce on the boulder.
Which really, Sam, you should have paid attention. Yeah, Luke, seriously, like, I'm real proud that you got this done, and I've loved this game for as long as I've been playing it and testing it and contributing to it. See you, John. A jerky says Gloucester, talking about Gloucester. I got boulders to bounce on. Again, even the level names, bouncing on boulders, like the level name describing what you do in it, it's very Yoshi's Island, and
yeah, I like indicative titles.
Yeah, and me comparing something to Yoshi's Island, you understand? I'm not saying it's derivative. I'm saying it's like the greatest game ever made, comparing it to that.
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying it was, in fact, a heavy inspiration.
Yeah. There's a lot of Super Mario inspired games, but not many Yoshi inspired games, so this is great.
Yeah, my main inspirations here would be Yoshi's Island, Super Mario Brothers 2, and Kirby. Yeah.
Oh yeah, big SMB2 vibes as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a very underrated game as well.
Yeah, it's one of my easily one of my favorites. It's up there with Mario 3 and Mario World for all I care.
So everybody's like, "Oh, do you know it used to be Doki Doki Panic?" It's like, yes, that doesn't mean it's not an excellent game.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I think I'm going to wrap up in a moment.
Yeah.
Actually, am I nearing the end of the stage?
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, yes, you're at the end.
Way
I am like 10 seconds behind, but this looks like the end of it.
Okay, am I going the wrong way? Oh no, there's the arrow. See, I don't even have to ask that. I'm like, am I going the wrong way? The game points me in the right direction.
And that arrow was actually a last-minute addition, too. I'm glad I added it.
I'm glad you added it. Oh, and there we go. Look at that. It's even things like the arrows that appear when it goes into auto-scroll and stuff. Like, there's so much thought in this. I just think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to... I'll let this cutscene play out. I'm going to end the stream there. It auto-saves, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it does.
All right, if I save and quit this, it'll go to my Freak Zone Games logo. Thank you, everyone who tuned in, people in chat and lurkers. I'm going to continue streaming this from time to time. You and or John are welcome to join in if you want to any of them. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is such a good game, Luke, and I'm real proud. I hope you're proud.
Oh, thank you. I'm still processing the whole release thing.
Yeah,
I know
well,
I've told you that several times, but it'll take a while.
yeah, it will. It will. Oh,
Yeah.
jerk and lurk says jerky. All right. Well, I'm gonna go before my bladder explodes. Goddamn
Good
beer.
idea.
You have a great night, and thank you so much for coming and joining me.
Oh, you too, Sam. Anytime.
I love your game. I can't wait to do more Freddy stuff with you and to see
Oh,
your
heck
next
yes.
your next thing you've got in the pipeline as well. I hope that this finds its audience. I'm sure it will. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes.
All right, me too.
We're gonna have so much fun.
All right.
All right. Good night.
Night, Sam.
Night,
A
everybody.
good one.
You too.